Welcome to the third session of BL6 webinar series. Today I am planning to discuss with you accounting for labor cost. Some of you may think this is not an important topic. This is very easy topic, therefore no point of going through this session. No. The main focus of this session is to discuss many MCQ questions. That is what you don't have right now. You can go through this theory part with your study pack or some other study materials, but you might not be able to find this kind of comprehensive MCQ questions, set of MCQ questions relating to accounting for labor. As I told you in the very first session, we can't ignore any of the topic. Why? Because examiner should have question bank which covers all the chapters in your syllabus. I am repeating the same message. Like written exams, we can't give less weightage for some chapters and more weightage for some chapters. We have to give equal weightage for all the chapters. Why? Because this is MCQ based question paper, right? So we don't know which question will come to your paper from that question bank. Sometimes paper can be easy, sometimes it can be difficult, sometimes it may cover difficult areas, sometimes it may cover easy areas of the syllabus. Combination of both. Therefore, we can't give less weightage for any chapter of this syllabus. Understand that message first, right? Fine. With that, we will, I am moving to discuss with you accounting for labor, right? When we talk about accounting for labor, your cost element is what? Direct labor cost or indirect labor cost. That we have discussed under cost classification in previous webinar. Now with that classification, we are going to account that. Now we have classified properly, right? Direct labor cost and the indirect labor cost we have classified. That we have done. How do we account that? That is what we are going to discuss in today's session. So first thing we need to understand, when you talk about accounting for labor, time based payment. Sometimes laborers will take, so employees will take their payments or salary based on the time they work. This is very easy, not difficult, right? There are three basic group of remuneration methods are there. One is time work or piece work, calculator, piecework scheme or bonus and the incentive scheme. These are the three things that I am going to discuss with you during this session. Second important point in this slide, if you look at, labor remuneration method have an effect on the following: salary, in other words labor payments, has direct impact on these two. One is cost of finished product or service. If this is finished good item, to convert raw material, plastic, ink, some other direct or indirect material to this finished good, you must incur what? Labor. Without human involvement, you might not be able to convert this raw material into a finished good. So then, labor remuneration has impact on cost of finished good or service. Second point, the morale and efficiency of employees, which means for me to work, I should be motivated. I should have morale. The motivations comes from where? From my salary. So labor remuneration has impact on these two, right? With that, if I move in to discuss time based payment, very simple. How do you pay for employees, remuneration, hours worked, right? I mean hours you worked into hours worked into rate per hour rate per hour. This is called time based payment. How many hours you worked, what is the payment for? Payment per or rate per hour. So then total payment will come, right? Simple. There is a question, look at this. If an employee work more hours, sorry, this is time based payment, but the question is from overtime premium, which means, let me explain overtime also. When we talk about time based payment, how do you calculate overtime? OT. Normally employees should work standard hours per day. In Sri Lanka, maybe 8-hour work shift. Country to country can be different. Sometimes entity to entity that can be different. Normally we know the standard working hours in Sri Lanka 8 hours, right? Fine. If you work more than that, it will identify as what? OT. How do you calculate OT? Total hours worked minus standard hours. Let us say you work 10 hours per day, standard hours 8 hours. So then you have worked 2 hours OT. This is the simple calculation, right? But overtime premium, how do you calculate? That can have different approaches. Look at this example. If an employee work more hours than the basic daily requirement, which means basic daily requirements means 8 hours. That's the basic daily requirement. He may entitle to an overtime payment. So then if you work more than the basic daily requirement, you are entitled for what? OT hours. Hours of overtime are usually paid at a premium rate. For extra hours you work, which is 2 hours in my example, you are eligible for premium rate. Example, let us say if the basic daily rate 400 per hours, rate per day, let us say example, rate per day, rate per basic rate, day rate is 400 per hour. Packet HRCA per hour, right? And overtime is paid at time and quarter, at time and a quarter. 8 hours of overtime would be paid the following amounts. Let us say basic pay. How do you calculate basic pay? 8 into 4, because 8 hours you work, 400 is the rate, 4 into 8, 3200. This is the basic hours, right? Overtime premium, how do you calculate? Overtime premium you calculate in this way. You work 8 hours, right? Because overtime is paid at times and a quarter. 8 hours of overtime would be paid following amount. 8 hours. OT how do you calculate? Divide by 4, because quarter 4 එකක්, which means 100. 100 into 800. So total payment will be 4000. This is called overtime premium, OT premium. OT premium. The overtime premium is the extra rate, because you are paying extra rate 100. This is extra rate, premium rate, right? Per hour which is paid, not the whole payment for overtime hours, right? That's all about overtime. So in short, when you take the remuneration on time basis, how do you calculate? Hours work into rate per hour. So, in that you have OT element. Overtime means total hours work minus standard hours, 2 hours. This is my example, but in your example, overtime premium they are talking about. How do you pay? 100 rupee per hour, right? So, idle time, next topic. What do you mean by idle time? Followed by this, you have a comprehensive MCQ questions. Let us move with this theory quickly, then we can go into discuss MCQ, right? Do not forget it. Idle time means sometimes during a day, you may not work due to some other reasons. Let us say you are working with a machine, let us say you are a sewing machine operator, you stretch garments, but due to machine breakdowns, sometimes you will not work with that machine. Let us say 4 hours or 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever the time period, you did not work. That time period we identify as what? Idle time. Look at this. Idle time has a cost because employee will still be paid their basic wages. So, you are entitled for basic wages. Since you are not working due to machine breakdown, employer can't say we are going to cut your salary because you didn't work. Why? There is a machine breakdown. No, you can't do like that. Machine breakdown is not your problem. Therefore, you are eligible for basic payments. For salary, for these unproductive hours, and so there should be a record of idle time. Idle time occurs when employee cannot get on with their work through no fault of their own. Mage වැරද්දක් නෙවෙයි. It's not my fault. Machine breakdown, right? Shortages of work, which means there's no orders, right? 5,000 employees are working in a garment factory, but no orders to produce garments. It is not my problem. I'm ready to stitch garment, but no orders. This idle time creates not because of my own reasons, right? This is beyond the control of employee. Therefore, you are eligible for the payment. So, how do we calculate idle time ratio, right? Idle time ratio. Idle time ratio, idle hours, කොච්චර hours ගානක් වැඩ කරන්නේ නැති හිටියද, right? Idle hours, total hours divide by total hours. Very simple equation into 100, because why we are multiply by 100, we are talking about ratio එකක් කතා කරන්නේ. So this will be idle hours calculation, right? Simple. So what are the wages departments or remuneration of HR departments? Wages means salary calculations, that is come under HR department. What is the duty? That also I have summarized, because this can be tested sometimes, but very less chance is there to test, but anyway we can't ignore because MCQ exam, right? Responsibilities for payroll department includes followings. Payroll department should have or should fulfill, or they are accountable for these responsibilities. Number 1, preparation of payroll and the payment of wages, maintenance of employees' records, master data, right? Summarizing wages cost for each cost center. There can be many cost centers. You have to summarize wages cost for each cost centers. Summarizing hours work for each cost centers. For each cost center, how many hours you worked. Summarizing other payroll information. Example, bonus payment, pension, etc. Providing an internal check for preparation and payout of wages. You are giving some reports to internal auditors or some internal management personnel on the payroll data. So these are the responsibilities of wages department. Don't misunderstand, since you are involved in for calculations, you are dealing with numbers, you are dealing with cash outflow, which is not a responsibility of finance department to calculate payroll, right? They are not responsible to calculate payroll, but they are responsible finance department, they are not responsible for this activity. Purely HR department, they are responsible for this activity, right? Fine. That's all about wages department's duties and responsibilities. Then another topic, high day rate system. What do you mean by that? Look at this example, then you will understand. High day rate system means, still we are talking about labor's cost, calculation of labor's cost or labor remuneration, right? Wages. High day rate system is a system where employees are paid a high hourly wage rate in the expectations that they work more efficiently than similar employees on a low hourly rate in a different company. Look at this example, so then you will understand it easily and easy for me to explain also this topic, right? Sometimes employees may demotivate. I work hard and some other employees also perform the same job role like I am doing, right? But both of us are getting same wages. To resolve that problem, this high day rate system introduced, right? You can use. Example, if an employee would make 100 units in 40 hours, you produce, let's say 100 units, right? In 40 hours, units in 40 hours work week. You can produce 100 units, right? In 40-hour week. Week එකට පැය 40ක් තියෙනවා. During that week you can produce 100 units. If we were paid 20 per hour rate 20 rate. Per hour. 20 rupees you will get per hour, right? But 120 units if we were paid 25 per hour. If you produce 125 instead of 100 during the same week, you can do it. Normally you are expecting 100 units, but if you produce 125 units, you still get 20 per rate. No. High rate, that's why it says high day rate system, we can pay 25 per hour. If you produce 125, right, per hour. And if production overhead is added to the cost at the rate of 20 per hour, per direct hour, labor hour, the cost per unit, how do you calculate? Overhead. Overhead you have 20 per direct labor hour per hour. Direct labor hour. HR means hour, right? Fine. Now they are asking you to calculate what? Cost per unit output. How do you calculate? A. Right? There are two situations. No? We'll take two situations. Now you have 40 hours, right? 40 hours. Each hour will get paid 20, right? 20 rupees per hour, but another 20 will pay for what? Overhead also. So then altogether 40. How do you calculate 40? 20 plus 20. This is total hours, total payment. Total payment for this week. 40-hour week. එක week එකට මෙච්චරක් cost එක එනවා. Under that 20 rate, you will produce 100 units. In 100 units වලින් බෙදපුවම මොකක්ද දෙන උත්තරේ? Per unit cost. Right? 40-hour week එකක් තියෙනවා. 40 into 40 total cost divided by 100, 16 per unit. 16 per unit. B, second situation, still you work 40 hours, but you will get 25 rupees plus another overhead 20, right, per hour OT rate, overhead rate into 40, you have to multiply. So, at a rate of 25 you will produce 125. Now look at cost per unit. 40, 25 plus 20 divided by 125, it is 15 per unit. So, total cost will be reduced. Total cost will be reduced if you pay according to this high day rate system, because you are giving some more rate to motivate employees when they produce more units by using their efficiency, right. That is called high day rate system, simple. Then performance based pay. Performance based payment, this is time based payment. Still we are talking about time based payment. Now if you look at performance based payment, right, in this what is the difference? Here you can't see the performance of employees. You come to work and work as you wish, and hours work into per hour rate, you will get the salary. Your performance will not reflect. Sometimes employee will be demotivated. Why? Because you can work hard, but still if you work hard, if you deliver your output more than the expectation, still you will get the same rate, unless you apply what? High day rate system, right. Therefore, performance based payment is more appropriate than what? Time based payment to motivate employees sometimes, right. Fine. Let me erase this. Right. I will keep this equation, then you can easily compare. This is time based payment and performance based pay. Right. How do you calculate it? Units produced. How many units you produced into rate per units. More you produce, more salary, that reflects your performance. Less produce, if you produce less amount of salary you will receive. So, this is good actually to motivate employees, right. Suppose there is an example, look at that. Suppose for example, an employee is paid 100 per unit, you will receive 100 per unit, right, and work 40 hours week. එක unit එකකට 100 pay කරනවා, 40 hour week එකක් වැඩ කරනවා. Production overhead is added at the rate of 200 per direct labor. Production overhead එක 200 per direct labor, right. I am not going to calculate it again here, but you can see the screen there properly this calculation has shown. Weekly production unit, let us say 40, 50, 60 and 70, this is weekly production units. Payment in thousands, for how do you calculate 4,000? 40 into 100, right, because if you produce 40 units, each unit get paid how much? 100 rupees. So, then 4,000 under 50 units level 5,000, when you produce 60 units 6,000, under 70 units level 7,000. This is pay for 40 hours week. Overhead, how do you calculate? Again 8,000 fixed at any production level. Why? Because how do you calculate it? 200 for direct labor. 200 per direct labor. How many direct labor hours you work? 40. 40 into 200, right? 40 into 200, 8,000, right? 8,000. That is fixed at any given level. Then conversion cost, combination of direct labor and the overhead, 4 plus 8, 12, 3 plus 8, 13, 6 plus 8, 14, 7 plus 8, 15, all are in thousands. Cost, conversion cost per unit, how do you calculate cost per unit, right? Cost per unit, total cost 12,000 divided by 40, 300. Similar to that, 13,000 divided by 50 to 60, 14,000 divided by 60 to 33. When total cost 15,000, unit 70, 240. So this is how do you calculate performance based payment. It is normal for piece workers to be offered a guaranteed minimum wages so that they do not suffer loss of earning when production is lower through no fault of their own. Sometimes the weakness or the fear that employee has under this method, time based payment, time work per rate ratio, per hour rate ratio. When you multiply these two, you will get the salary. Even though you have idle time period, you will get paid for that. Why? Because that is not because of your fault. But when it's come to performance based payment, always your payment depends on the number of units you produce. So then even when you are at idle point, idle time, you will not produce anything. Therefore, they have a fear, right? We didn't produce anything, therefore we might not be able to get expected salary. Therefore, to avoid that risk, employee will give you what? Guaranteed minimum wages, right? Which means now let us say when you produce 40 units, each units will get paid 100, the 4,000 is the cost or total payment, right? Now let us say because of machine breakdown you produce only 10 units. Now then your performance based salary should be what? 1,000. Employees are not happy about this because this reduction of 3,000 not because of your own fault. This is not because of your underperformance or lack of performance. Therefore, to manage this situation, you will give minimum guaranteed salary, right? Guaranteed salary. Let us say that can be 3,000. So whether you produce or not anything, you will get paid 3,000. Not that this reduction, right? Don't think may venasa kiyana killa naha. Let's say 2,500. Right? 2,500. Minimum you will pay even though you didn't produce any single unit. So that is to manage employees' concerns in this structure, right? Guaranteed remuneration, here again there is a question, answer also there, right? Therefore, I am not going to go through this again, I recommend you to go through, but let me explain guaranteed remuneration. Example, you can work out at home freely, right? Guaranteed remuneration is a fixed mandatory amount paid, fixed mandatory amount. This is fixed amount, fixed mandatory amount paid by employer to employee, The most common for guaranteed remuneration is base level salary, which means some salary base you have given. Guaranteed remuneration may also include holiday and sick pay and exclude variable such as overtime, bonus and other discretionary incentives. So, those things you will not include for minimum guaranteed remuneration, but it is a base level fixed amount of payment even though you did not produce single unit, right. Read this example and work out that, but you will work with me one MCQ question. I believe that is more than enough, right. Fine. The last slide before we move into MCQ session, right. Bonus scheme and the individual bonus scheme and the group bonus schemes. Why do we require bonus first of all? Bonus means what? Bonus means based on your performance or the entity's performance, they pay some extra amount to employees to motivate them or to appreciate their performance. Because entity might not be able to pay bonus if they make losses. They pay bonus when they make profits. So, this year because of this COVID situation, most of the companies they do not pay bonuses. But some companies, sometimes telecommunication companies, super profit these days because they are offering data packages, they are giving different you know facilities to their clients, super profit. Hospitals, super profit. They can't make that profit without their employees. Therefore, to recognize their service, to appreciate their service, they are giving part of the profit that they earn to their employees, which is called bonus, right. In general, bonus schemes were introduced to compensate workers paid under time-based system and their liability to increase earnings by working more efficiently, right. Various type of incentives and bonus schemes have been devised which encourage greater productivity. To encourage employees, right, encourage greater productivity, you are giving these bonus schemes. Individual schemes and group bonus schemes, there are two types of schemes. I thought of including these two because to avoid any risk, right. An individual bonus schemes is a remuneration scheme whereby individual employees qualify for a bonus on top of their basic wages. They are qualified for bonus on top of their basic wages. Normally you will pay, let us say, basic wages of 50,000 rupees, according to whatever the method, right. So, if you pay some more than this based on individual performance, that is called individual bonus scheme, right. Group bonus schemes. The group bonus scheme is an incentive plan. It is an incentive plan which is related to the output performance of the group of work or a department, even a whole factory. Sometimes you might, let us say your target profit is 1 million. This factory should achieve profit of 1 million. To achieve this 1 million, main contribution should come from workers who work with the production, but they can't do anything without support of sometimes, let us say, admin people or IT people or procurement people. So, without support of them, they might not be able to achieve this profit. Therefore, everything depends on the entire work group. So, without working together, you might not be able to achieve those targets. So, then to recognize that group, you will give group bonus schemes, right. So, those are the two type of bonus schemes. Done. Those are the key highlights from this chapter. Sometimes you can read and understand your study pack, but I thought of giving this insight with you. Followed by that insights, now onwards I am going to discuss with you comprehensive MCQ set of questions. You can practice your study pack, but you do not know how these concepts, theory convert into MCQ questions. How should I ready for those? This is the golden time, opportunity for you to understand how examiner can set up this kind of set up questions from this chapter, right? Don't give less attention for this chapter. That's why my conclusion, right? Fine. We'll take one by one. First of all, let me erase this board because I have to use this board for some calculations during MCQ session. Till that you can read question number 1. So these questions are from some other exams. I am repeating this. Your exams, your structure more similar to ACCA exam. All these questions are from that paper. Don't think this lecturer has developed these questions, therefore how do we know whether these questions can be tested or not? No, these questions are developed by ACCA exam. I found these questions from ACCA related study materials. Therefore, we can give much more attention for this. Sometimes your examiner also can be referred, I do not know, right? Fine. The following information relates to question number 7.1 and 7.2. Do not worry about this number series, just focus on the question. Budgeted and actual data, production data for the year that has ended are as follows. You have budgeted production data and the actual production data. You have 4 products W, X, Y, Z. Number of units produced also they have given, right? Budgeted production units and the budgeted standard machine hours also they have given. Budgeted units as well as budgeted standard hours they have, machine hours they have given. Then actual production also they have given. They are asking you, total machine hours worked in the production in the period amounting to 29,000 hours. Actual hours worked which means actual worked amounted to 29,000 hours, right? Question number 1, what was the capacity ratio in this year? We have not discussed but can be tested, therefore this is important, right? What was the capacity ratio for this year as a percentage of decimal places? Decimal place you can calculate, right? Fine. First of all, you have to understand capacity ratio equation. Let me explain. Capacity ratio, right? Capacity ratio. Actual hours you worked divide by budget hours. Actual hours you worked divide by budget hours into, since they are asking about ratio, you have to multiply by 100. Always when they are talking about ratio, you have to multiply by 100. So, how many actual hours they worked? Let me explain once I figure out the answer, right? How many actual hours they worked? 29,000 hours. 29,000 hours they worked. How many budgeted hours? How do you calculate budgeted hours? It is like this. You have 3,000 into this plus 8,000 into 5,000 plus 7,000 into 16,000 plus 9,000 into 5,000. How many budget hours you worked? 27,000. 3,000 plus 8,000 plus 7,000 plus 9,000. Altogether 27,000. You have budgeted 27,000 hours, but actually you worked more than this capacity, right? You have budgeted 20,000, 27,000, you worked more than that, which means this should be more than 100%. You have worked more than 100% capacity, more capacity you have utilized. So 29 divided by 27 into 100, 107.4%. This is the capacity ratio. You have utilized this capacity over utilization. That's why this ratio is going beyond 100, more than the capacity, because you have budgeted, you are expecting to work 27,000, you work more than that. Beyond that capacity you have worked. Capacity ratio explain you that. 107. Beyond that. So answer is what? Answer is D. Answer D has 107.4. Right? Second question they asking from this, what was the efficiency ratio in this year, as a percentage to one decimal place. To one decimal place they are asking efficiency ratio. Again capacity ratio and the efficiency ratio. How do you calculate efficiency ratio? Standard hours you work, how many standard hours you worked, right? Divide by actual hours you work into 100, because they are asking what? A ratio. How many standard hours you worked? Don't think, alright, standard hours 27,000. This is a mistake you are doing. This is budget in hours, because the question has clearly mentioned budgeted production under 15,000, 20,000, 14,000, 6,000, under that standard machine hours this much. But you have to calculate, when you calculate efficiency ratio, right? What is the standard hours? How do you calculate standard hours? First of all, you have to calculate standard hours. Right? Actual production into, this is how do you calculate standard hours. Standard hours of actual production basically, right? Standard hours on actual production. Actual production into standard rate per unit. Rate per unit. So actual units how much? You have produced 12,000, 25,000, 16,000 and 5,000. 12,000, 25,000, 16,000 and 5,000. You have to multiply by standard hours per unit. So first one, how many standard hours? You have 3,000 standard hours at the level of 15,000 budgeted units. So then 0.2. How do you get 0.2? 3,000 divided by 15,000. You can see only for this I will show you 3,000 divided by 15,000 per hour rate. How many 3,000 hours? 15 units per unit rate, right? Per unit rate, per unit standard rate, 0.2. Second point, 8,000 divided by 20,000, 0.4. Then 7,000 divided by 14,000, 0.5. 9,000 divided by 16,000, 6,000, 1.5. Take all these things. 12,000 divide multiply by 0.2, 2400, 25,000 multiply by 0.2, 10,000, right, 10,000, 16,000 multiply by 0.5, 8,000, 5,000 multiply by 1.5, 7,500, plus 27,900. So, this is the total standard hours. So, 27,900 divided by actual 29,000 into 100, efficiency ratio, right, divide by 29,000, 96.2 is the answer. Check whether that answer is there or not in your, yes, 96.2, the correct answer is what? A. Correct answer is A. Fine, done. Read question number 3. This is small questions, but we can't ignore. Efficiency and capacity ratios. What does the labor cost graph below explain? Right? You have output in x-axis, y-axis, cost. This graph explain you what? A piece rate scheme with minimum guaranteed wages, a straight fees rate scheme, straight time rate scheme, a differential fees rate scheme. Look at that. If I explain you in the board, here you have dollar cost amount, here you have output. The graph is like this. Till this point, if you produce whatever unit, you have minimum guaranteed payment, wages cost fixed, minimum guarantee, right, guaranteed. Thereafter it increase, a piece rate scheme with minimum guaranteed wages, that is the correct answer, because from this point onwards, when you produce more, you will get more salary, plus this minimum guarantee, right. මෙතන එකල් minimum guarantee එක ගෙවනවා. එතනින් එහාට salary එක වැඩි වෙනවා. So the correct answer is what? A. A piece rate scheme with minimum guaranteed wages. Question number 4. The following date relate to work in finishing department of a certain factory, right. Following data relate to work in finishing department of a certain factory. So finishing factory එක තියෙන finishing department එක දත්ත ටිකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. The question is, on a particular day, one employee finishes 180 units. On a particular day, one employee finishes 180 units. What is his gross pay for that day? What are the data they have given? Normal working days they have given. Normal working day 7 hours, right? එක දවසකට පැය කරන පැය 7ක්. Basic rate per hour $5. Standard time allowed to produce one unit 4 minutes. We are given 4 minutes to produce one unit. A premium bonus payable at basic rate, premium bonus payable at the basic rate 60% of the saved time. You are paying 60% of the saved time. They are asking gross salary. So these are the questions, smart questions that examiner can be set up, right? So total time, time taken to 180 units, how much? Calculate that first. Total time, very simple, think smartly, so then easily you can answer these questions. Total time for 180 units, because we produce 180 units, right? 180 units, per unit 4 minutes required, per unit 4 minutes required, 180 units into 4, 720 minutes, but they have given rates in hours. Divide by 60 to take hours, divide by 60 to convert this into hours, 12 hours. It's required 12 hours to produce 180 units, because per unit it's required 4 minutes. Calculate that first. Now, normal payment how much? Normal payment, they are paid based on the time, right? Time based payment method they have, right? Not number of unit based payment, right? You can take 7 hours you work, 7 hours per day, per hour rate, $5, 35, normal payment. Then the bonus element, bonus premium, how do you calculate? Bonus premium, read this. Premium bonus payable at a basic rate. It pay basic rate, which means $5. How many hours? Basic rate of 60%. Making 60% you pay. Right? On what? Saved hours. How many hours you saved? You work 12 hours to produce 180 units. During a day you produce how many hours? How many units? On a particular day you produce 180 units. 180 units you produce. ඇත්තටම ඔයා ප්‍රොඩියුස් කරන්න ඕනේ කීයද? විනාඩි පැය 7ක් වැඩ කරොත් 4 6 7 look at this also. 7 hours means 60 minutes. So 420 minutes you have per day. 420 minutes you have per day. Divide by 4, because each product will take 4 minutes. Divide by 4. 105 units. Under normal circumstances, you should have been produced 105 units. But you have produced already 180 units, which means you have produced extra. To recognize that, you are giving bonus. How do you pay that bonus? How many hours you saved? 5 hours, because to produce balance rest of the items, let's say 180 units minus 105. How much the extra unit? 75 units. Each unit required 4 minutes. 300 minutes. Divide by 60, convert it to hours. 5 hours. This number of hours, 5 hours you have saved. මොකද මේ පැය පහක් තව ඕනි වෙනවා 105 units produce කරන්න. 75 units produce කරන්න. මේක තමයි extra production. මේක produce නොකර ඉන්නත් තිබුණා, because it's required only to produce 180 units, 105 particular day. To recognize employees, since they have produced extra 75 units, which means that they have saved 5 stand hours, right? 5 hours they have saved to the company. Therefore, you are giving bonus 60% of day per hour rate bonus into time saved hours. 5. How much? 5 into 60% into 5, 15. Right? Plus 35, 50. 50. Right? So the total cost how much? 50. The answer is what? B. The correct answer is B, 50. This is how do you calculate total cost. Gross salary, gross payment, right? Fine. Very simple. Question number 5. Smart questions again. An employee is paid on a piecework basis. This is not piecework, previous question. Now it is piecework because question number 4 is time based payment. Now it is piece based payment question. Based the basis of the piecework scheme is as follows: 1 to 100 units, 0.2 per unit, 101 to 200 units, 0.3 per unit, 200 to 299, 0.4 per unit. This is how do you pay, right? With the following additional units qualifying for the higher rate, rejected units do not qualify for payments, right? With the unit, with only additional units qualifying for higher rate, only additional units qualifying for higher rate. Rejected units do not qualify for payments. Rejected units do not qualify for payments. We will not get any payment for those. During a particular day, the employee produced 210 units, of which 17 were rejected as faulty. You produce 210, out of which 17 were rejected. What did the employee earn for their day's work? Right? Fine. Try it first, quickly. Don't expect straightforward questions, right? You have to think and figure out the answer, because not like financial accounting you have formats, formulas, equations, everything, but management accounting, it's for management, internal records, here and there, different applications you have to use. Answer you have to figure out in a different by using different approaches, right? Fine. Okay. When we calculate this, you have to first understand how many units, good units you produce. Units produce. Produce. 210 minus 17. How much? Because 17 units fault. 17. 193 good units you have produced. So first 100. First 100 you pay how much? 1 to 100, 0.2. 20. Second 93, 193 no? Second 93 you are with the only additional units qualifying for higher rate. Additional units are qualifying for higher rates. 93 into 0.3. 27.9 plus 20, 47.9. So this is the correct answer. I will show you the mistake you are doing. Some of you will think, alright, 193 no, it is belongs to the second bucket, which means 193 into 0.3. Look at this mistake, 57.9. That is also there as an answer. Well, make equation right. 57.9 is there as an answer. Completely wrong. මේ examiner හරි උත්තරෙත් එක්ක යාට කැමති numbers ටික නෙවෙයි දාන්නේ. Possible answers දාන්නේ. Possible outcomes. But those possible outcomes are not wrong, not correct. Those are wrong. The correct is what? This. Sometimes you will do this mistake. 210 no. එහෙනම් එකෙන්නේ තුන්වෙනි බකට් එකට. 0.4. Look at this also. 0.4, 84. Fortunately, that is not there as an answer, but examiner can do this smart working. Right? Fine. Learning outcomes, you have to figure out first the good production, and they said extra rate is given for the additional units they produce. Therefore, for standard 20.2, balance 93.3, altogether 47.9. The correct answer is A. Question number 6. Employee is a carpenter and normally work 36 hours per week. 36 hours per week. The standard rate of pay is 3.6 per hour. 3.6 per hour. A premium of 50% of basic hourly rate is paid for all overtime hours worked. Standard rate of pay is 3.6 per hour. A premium of 50 of the basic hour rate is paid for all overtime hours work. Premium OT premium that we have discussed. During the last week of October, employee A worked 42 hours. The overtime hours work were following reasons. Machine breakdowns for hours, which is beyond the control of you, to complete a specific job at the request of the customer. Very important word here, specific job at the request of customer. Go to cost classification and understand. Any cost because of not due to customer's request will be a part of overhead. So then whatever the payments you made for machine breakdowns will be overhead. But extra cost incurred to complete specific job at the request of customer, right, 2 hours, will be part of what? Prime cost, which means the direct cost. That is what the learning outcome they are going to test here. This combination, this question is a combination of cost classification and accounting for labor, right. How much of employee A earnings for the last week of October would have been treated as direct wages? Here you need to calculate direct wages, right. Smart question, I would say, right. How do you calculate? Basic payment how much? Basic payment you will receive 36 hours per week, 36 hours per hour rate how much? 3.6. 36 into 3.6, 129.6. 129.6 basic payment. Then overtime premium. Overtime premium, how do you calculate? Right? You work 2 hours extra and another 4 hours due to machine breakdown. This will be part of overhead, not part of direct cost. Therefore, this will not be considered. Don't consider this part. This is part of overhead, not direct cost. Therefore, you will not consider this. Therefore, I am not going to talk about 4. But 2 hours you can take. Why? Because we are going to calculate direct cost, right. 2 hours, you will pay 50% of basic pay. That is what examiner is mentioning, right. 3.6 into 2 divided by 0.5. How much? 3 point, sorry, it's not working properly. (36 into 3.6), sorry, 38, right? 3.6, 136, 8, 3.6 divided by 2 into 2 hours, 3.6. 140.4. So, this is the correct answer. The answer is what? Direct wages, direct cost. If they ask in total cost, you have to consider that 4 hours also, but here you do not worry about it, they ask in 40, right. 140.4, answer is C. The correct answer is what? C. Question number 7. Which of the following statement is true about group bonus scheme? Group bonus scheme, remember we have discussed that. They are asking the correct statement. Group bonus scheme are appropriate when increased output depends on a number of people all making extra effort. Very correct. So, if a group of people work together to get the outcome, then you have to give bonus for that group of people, not for individual within the group, right. That statement is correct about group bonus. Second one, with group bonus scheme, it is easier to award each individual's performance. No, group bonus is to a group, not to measure individual's performance. Wrong. Third one, non-production employees can be rewarded as a part of group incentive scheme. Very correct. Why I am saying like that? Sometimes to achieve profit or targets, only core employees involvement may not sufficient. IT people, HR people, the administrative staff also should support by providing their service. Therefore, non-production employees also can be rewarded through what? Group bonus scheme. Therefore, statement 1 and 3 are correct, that reflect in answer C. Question number 8. Look at that. X company has recorded the following wages cost for direct production workers for November. Basic pay 70,800, overtime premium 2,000, holiday payments 500 altogether, gross wages incurred 73,300. The overtime was not work for any specific job. OT is not for, was not work for any specific job. This is not for a specific job. What are the accounting entries for this wages cost? If it is not for specific work, that will be part of overhead. That is what you need to understand, right. Work in progress 72,800. 72,800 means basic plus overtime premium. Basic plus overtime premium. No, that cannot be charged to work in progress. Why? Because overtime premium is not for specific job. Very important part here is what? Not specific, not for a specific word. That phrase is important. Wages, therefore, the correct, your answer A can't be the correct answer. B, work in progress account 70,800, correct, because that is a part of direct cost. Overhead control 2,500, yes, because overtime premium and holiday payments you have to charge to overhead. Why? Because overtime is not for specific work. If it is specific work, it is part of direct cost and charge to work in progress. So far correct, and both you charge to a wages control account, which is the correct entry, right? Which is the correct entry. So the answer is what? B. Question number 9. Company A has 30 direct production employees. 30 direct production employees at the beginning of the last year, right? At the beginning of employees at the beginning of the last year, and 20 production employees at the end of at the end of the year, right? At the beginning and at the end of they have given number of employees. During the year, total of 15 direct production employees had left the company to work for local competitor. 15 employees left already. What is the labor turnover rate for last year? Labor turnover ratio, very important. How do we calculate labor turnover ratio? Right? Labor turnover ratio equation. Replacement divided by average number of employees into 100, because they are talking about ratio, right? Replacement. So how do you calculate replacement? At the beginning you had 30 employees, right? And left how much? At the end 20, which means 10 employees already left from the organization, right? Total left employees, because 30 beginning, 20 last year, and 20 direct production employees at the end of the year. During the year they have during the year total 15 direct production employees had left the organization. 15 left. 15 left. 15ක් ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා. වෙනස තියෙන්නේ 10යි. Which means they have replaced 5. This is the replacement. Correct, no? At the beginning 13 no, at then 10, total difference 10. Effectively 10 කියලා ගිහිල්ලා. හැබැයි 15කුත් යාලා ඇතුළට ගෙනලා තියෙනවා. So 15ක් left වෙලා. 15ක් left වෙලා කියන difference එක 5ක් එන්නේ හේතුව තමයි 5 they have replaced. Actually 15 ගිහිල්ලා. But the difference is 5, 10, which means this 5 employees they have replaced. 5 replacement. Average, how do you calculate? 30 plus 20 divided by 2 into 100. How do you calculate? Yeah, answer is 30 plus 20 divided by 2, 5 divided by answer into 100, 20%. Because always replaced employees you will consider for turnover ratio calculation. Don't misunderstand. Some of you will think, how many employees left? We have to take 15. No. Even though you recruit 15, left 15, effectively 10. Why? Because you have replaced 5. So the turnover ratio is that 20%. 20% answer reflected in answer in C. B, right? 7.9, answer is B, 20%. Question number 10, right? Question number 10. Jane works as a member of 3-person team in assembly department of a factory, right? There are 3 team members in the group. Jane also part of that group. The team is rewarded by group bonus scheme, whereby the team leader receive 40% of total bonus earned by them, and the remaining bonus is shared evenly between Jane and other team member. 40% of bonus goes to team leader, the balance 60% equally distribute between Jane and other team member. They are asking what is the bonus element of Jane for particular day. You have to calculate total bonus first, so then easily you can figure out what is Jane's portion. So these are the smart questions you need to practice, right? You can say, alright, chapter is very easy, we can handle any question. No, you have to practice this kind of questions, so then you can ready for the exam in a innovative way. Total hours work, how much? Total hours work by the team 8 hours. Team production achieved 80 units. Standard time allowed for 1 unit 8 minutes, 9 minutes. Group bonus payable at 6 per unit, 70% of total time saved, right? Total time worked. Total time worked, how much? 80 units you have produced and each require 90 minutes, 9 minutes. 80 into 9 minutes, 720 minutes. Divide by 60 to convert into hours, 12. 12 hours you have worked. 12 hours you have worked, right? So then bonus, how do you calculate? Bonus, you have saved 70% of the time saved. How many hours you have saved? Because you have 8 hours per day, 8 hours per day. So saved time 4 into, right, 6 into 6. 6 is the rate you are paying per hour, right? 6, yeah, they are paying 6 per hour and the 70% on the saving. This is a total bonus element. 4 into 6 into 70%, 16.8. 16.8. So from this 16.8, you are eligible for Jane's portion you are calculating. 16.8, 60% will be for Jane and other person, because 40% to team members, right? 40% to team member, from this 50% to Jane. Harini? Jane lasa anit team member how many? 60% of total bonus. Dennata how many? 60. Jane ki portion again half of it. 50% means half of it. In other way, right? Into 60% into 50%. 5.04. This is Jane's portion. So that is there in the A. The correct answer is what then? A. Question number 11. In a typical cost ledger, what is the double entry for indirect labor cost? Indirect labor cost, what should be the double entry? Wages control account debit, overhead credit, no, it should be other way around. Admin overhead control debit, wages control credit, no. Overhead control debit, wages control account credit. So that is the correct answer. Overhead debit වෙනවා, wages control එක credit වෙනවා. That's the account info labor overhead. Overhead එක debit, wages control credit. Last question. Question number 12. A company has 4,000 staff. There are 4,000 staff at the start of 2005, and then it's reduced to 3,800 due to redundancies being made, and 210 staff took voluntary redundancy, which means VRS kind of a thing. which was 10 more than the company had anticipated, and these 10 were replaced. 10 were replaced. What is the labor turnover ratio? Labor turnover ratio, you know, replacement into average head count into 100, right? Average head count you can easily figure out, 4,000 plus 3,800 divided by 2. 4,000 plus 3,800, simple average, take simple average, divide by 2 into 100. Yeah, you have to calculate replacement. How do you calculate replacement? Altogether 3,800, 4,000. This is the difference, 200. 200 employees left basically during the year, effectively. And question says 210 employees voluntarily redundancy, which was 10 more than the company had anticipated, and 10 replaced. 210 out of which 10, the difference 10 replaced. Difference එක මෙච්චරයි. හැබැයි actual left 210, which means මේක 200ක් වෙන්න නම් another 10 they have taken back, which means replacement 10. No need to worry about this 10 figure, how do I figure out, examiner has given, but this is the logic. Actually 210 කියලා ගියා කියලා කියනවා, but opening and closing difference 200, which means now they have taken back another 10 employees they have recruited, right? So the answer is what? 4,000 plus 3,800, take the simple average of it, 10 divided by answer into 100%. So labor turnover ratio 0.26 to nearest decimal, 26. Is there answer like this? Yes, the correct answer is A. So these are the type of questions that examiner can be tested from accounting for labor. The final message, don't ignore this chapter. You can think, this is very simple, easy chapter, no point of working with this chapter, any question I can help. No. If you carefully go on through these 12 questions, right, in addition to the questions that we have discussed as a part of theory discussion, will give you more insight. Open your eyes and see how many smart, complex, creative questions that your examiner can be tested. Be ready for those. Practice these 12 questions again, find some more questions and ready for the exam. Thank you.